Hey guys, welcome to another video in which I want to talk about identifying the red flags in a romantic relationship. If you are in a relationship and you see these red flags, please flee. That's what the Bible says. Flee, don't run. Flee, don't run. Because they are signs of unhealthy behavior and can lead to toxicity in your relationship, and you will never ever enjoy a toxic relationship. And so what are those flags that I want to talk about? The first one is overly controlling behavior. If you are in a relationship with a guy, a lady who is overly controlling, who wants to control what you wear, what you eat, where you go, who you hang out with, flee. Because you are not yet married, he's already controlling stuff, she's already controlling stuff. What about when you eventually get married? That means you won't even be able to make decisions yourself. And so that is a red flag that I will urge you to run away from. Now, the second red flag I want to talk about is lack of trust. If you are in a relationship and you have the need to check the phone of your partner, I tell you, there's no relationship. You are deceiving yourself, because if you cannot trust yourself in basic things, then there's no relationship. For me, I won't ever check the phone of a partner, intending or even married. What concerns me with that? No, I am secure in myself and I don't have to go to that extent. And so if you are in a relationship in which there is a lack of trust, please, it's a major red flag. And so the next one I want to talk about is feeling low self-esteem. If you are in a relationship that does not build you up, that constantly pulls you down, please flee. Because a partner that is critical with words can pull you down, and it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. I won't say more than that. And so if you are in a relationship where you don't feel supported, you don't feel seen, you don't feel heard, you don't feel validated, it's a toxic trait, and it's a major red flag. The next one I want to talk about is substance abuse. If your partner is hooked to a substance, it's a major red flag, because that means that for most of the time in your relationship, he or she will be high, and when he or she is high, no sane communication can take place. Also, the fact that he or she is hooked to substances means he or she is trying to escape certain things. For instance, probably is having issues at work and is using those substances to escape them. And so that means that you won't even have somebody that is sane at home for you to talk to, and it's a major issue if your intending partner is hooked on substances. Another thing you should look at, red flag, is narcissism. If you are involved with a guy or a lady who has an over-bloated self-ego, who is obsessed with self, that means your needs are not going to be met in that relationship. Just face the facts. And so somebody with NPD, we call it NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, you can't have a good relationship with that kind of person. The relationship is going to be about him or her, and so your needs will be relegated to the background, and it's a major red flag to consider. Also, if you're in a relationship where there's physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, when you are physically abused, that means you are suffering violence physically. Yes, that is easily understandable by people, but there is emotional abuse, which is more insidious, in the sense that the scars are not physical, these scars are emotional. For instance, if somebody manipulates you via your emotions, for instance, he or she knows that you love a certain thing, and he will manipulate you based on what you love with your emotions. And so you realize that it's not healthy for you if your loved one knows you love something, he or she should be willing to give it to you without using that your love to abuse you. And so that is another red flag to consider. And also mental abuse. If you are constantly being abused mentally, mental abuse is also a red flag in a relationship. Another red flag that I want to talk about is codependency. Codependency happens when both partners depend on themselves to fulfill their emotional needs. And one thing I constantly say is two fractured souls cannot make a marriage work. That's the reality of the situation. And so when you are codependent, it means you are relying on your partner to fulfill your emotional needs, your ego needs, and it's impossible. Only God can do that. And so when that happens, there is what we call mental exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, because one partner is under strain, is under pressure to perform, to provide certain things which he or she is unable to do. And so there's a constant pressure in that kind of relationship. And so beware of codependency. Whatever you need as regards emotional health or whatever, go to God for that. 3 John 2 says, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And so God is interested in the prosperity of your soul, and you can go to him for that and not rely on a partner. So if you are in a relationship where your partner is expecting you to provide for his or emotional needs, please flee. And also, if there is an inability to resolve conflicts, if your intending partner is constantly running away from resolving your conflicts, is a major red flag, because you should be in a relationship where you are free to talk, free to communicate, and free to air your views, your feelings, your opinions. And so, but if there's conflict and your partner is evading talking about the conflict, it's a major problem, because in every relationship, even in healthy relationships, there's constant conflict, and both of you will look for ways to resolve in a healthy manner without affecting the other person. So if a partner is constantly evading resolving conflicts, is a major problem, because that problem that he or she is sweeping under the carpet will come up to rear its ugly head one day, and that day it will be an explosion which cannot be controlled. Another red flag to look at is constant jealousy. When your partner is constantly jealous of you being in the midst of other people, which means he or she is not comfortable with you relating with your friends, your peers, your colleagues, and he or she feels threatened because you are dealing with other people, it's a major problem, because then you won't be able to relate with people when you are married to him or her. And so you have to consider that as a major red flag. Now the last one I want to talk about is gaslighting. Gaslighting happens when your partner tries to make you feel as if you are insane, makes you feel guilty, guilt trips you. And so you don't want a situation where somebody is gaslighting you, trying to make you question your sanity. For instance, if you put a book somewhere, he or she will pick the book and put it elsewhere and will say, okay, I'm looking for this book, who took it? And then you say, I know where it is here, and you don't find it there, and you begin to question your sanity, and he brings it out and says,